Welcome, everybody, to the end of the year award show 2024. We are back with our little thing that we do every year where we talk about all kinds of stuff for the year that we checked out, music, books, movies. And we're here again with CharlesFRosenay. Hello, Charles. How are you?
Guys, great to be here.
Yeah, thanks. And we're talking about his book and that he wrote with co-author Mark Arnold.
Yes.
Called Not Just Happy Together, The Turtles from AM Radio to Zappa. Fantastic book. We made this book the book of the year.
Amazing. Wow.
And I think you deserve it. You know, you worked really hard on it. It's a very in-depth book about the band.
Oh, my God.
What I like about this book is, and I'm a fan of the Turtles, but you don't have to be. All right. It's an interesting read about how this band was so much more important than I think they get credit for.
Yeah.
And it's one of the most in-depth things I've ever read about the Turtles altogether. So kudos to you and Mark for coming up with this fantastic book.
Thank you so much. Mark Arnold and I are just so proud that we've come up with this, what we hope is the definitive Turtles book that is not only a great accompanying piece for anyone who's already a Turtles fan and knows some of their stuff or a lot of their stuff or may consider themselves an aficionado. But like you said, people who want to discover, pick it up and just learn about a band who's so underappreciated and deserves so much more and deserve to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We always have to add that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, well, we're not very fond of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in this part of the woods here. There's just too much politics with that, and it's who you know.
Yeah.
But the Turtles should definitely be in there. They have made some strides, I will say, in the last maybe 10 years to try to get some really good people in there. I will say that, like T-Rex and
they do.
Alice Cooper's gotten in the last 10 years. People like that, but when you're talking about the rap bands and Madonna and Michael Jackson, it kind of doesn't really belong in there, but I'll just leave it at that.
But you know what?
Turtles are great. They definitely belong in there.
Yeah. Well, I love that you mentioned T-Rex and Alice Cooper.
Yeah.
Because of course, Flo and Eddie, the Turtles worked with them. So here we are having a band who's worked with Springsteen, with all these great Rock and Roll Hall of Famers and great other musicians.
And Frank Zappa too, of course.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's a big thing. A lot of people don't know that. When they talk about the Turtles, they have no idea of that connection.
No, because you think, the pop band that did all those hits. Wait, also toured and recorded with Zappa. It's just a whole nother world.
So just to kind of recap a little bit, Charles. When did you start working on this book?
So it was kind of after I'd finished my other 3 pop culture books, the Ghost book, the book of top 10 horror lists, and the book of top 10 Beatle lists. And Mark and I became, really close. We were on a lot of podcasts together, and we both were on the same label as far as a publisher in our first book. So we would talk a lot about publishing and a lot of things. And he had done a combined effort with an author named Michael Ventrella on the Monkees, where they would kind of review every song and go back and forth like a Siskel and Ebert kind of deal. And we thought, what could we do that with? And we both the Turtles. We got to do the Turtles. And we both agreed. And we looked out and did a little research and saw there's nothing aside from what the guys themselves wrote and a few videos or compilations from Rhino Records. There was nothing. There wasn't that definitive discography, book, comprehensive. We call it encyclopedia on the Turtles.
It pretty much is.
So we both, worked independently, doing our reviews, and then together when we were compiling the interviews, because it's not just reviewing all the albums and singles. It's not just listing them, but then it also has all the interviews with just about everyone who's ever connected with the Turtles. And it's exhaustive. It was exhausting and it's exhaustive, but we're so proud of it. And we're so proud that on the end of the year award show that we were nominated the best book. I mean, holy cow. People, thank God, still read books and they're coming out like crazy. I had a Beatles book out and I'm like, what hasn't been done, and they still keep coming out, and thank goodness, because I've got another Beatle book in the works, so I'll let you guys know.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Well, you're known for your Beatles stuff, that's for sure.
Yes.
For many years. Just real quick, I mean, we didn't really get into this with the interview last time, but are you still doing your paranormal stuff too?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, we're just finishing Halloween, where I did something called the Haunted Trolley, where people took a actual old ancient trolley ride, and a lot of crazy stuff went on there. But every other month, do a paranormal investigation as part of a team called the Shaman and the Showman. Thomas Gormley and myself visit a lot of really, really cool places. In November, we're going to a Masonic hall that has a lot of ghosts in it that have never really, it's never been explored properly before. Wow. And we've been given full permission and full access to that. And then we do a psychic fair in December in Bridgeport, Connecticut. So I'm always doing stuff. I combine both worlds. My Facebook post today was 2 covers of Sgt. Pepper, one of all the Universal monsters in place of the Beatles, and the other one was an all Boris Karloff one. So those are my 2 worlds. When November 1st hits, that's when I start thinking, am I promoting Beatles? Am I promoting monsters? And I do both.
That's what I love about you, Charles. You got your feet in all these different worlds, and you're super talented, and I'm just glad that this book was written. Like you say, there really wasn't much about the Turtles out there other than the autobiographies that the band members wrote.
Right.
And you kind of put this all together in one thing. And I just think it's fantastic for Turtles fans, of course, obviously, but also for people that, might have just a casual interest in that type of music or music in general. Yes. I'm an avid reader, so I read a lot. Okay. Yes. And I'm partial to nonfiction and biographies. And that's just a fantastic read if you're into that genre.
Wow, thank you so much. It means a lot because you put a lot of work into it. I mean, just recently, another author, a real aficionado, found 2 mistakes in it. And we're like, we read it, 1,000 times, but it wasn't typo mistakes. It's those type of mistakes that only an expert would have noticed. And I'm thinking, all right, 6,000 pages, 2 mistakes. We'll take it. It's not so bad.
Yeah, it's bound to happen. I mean, come on. I've seen there's mistakes in famous books out there.
Oh yeah,
definitely. All right, so Charles, thank you for coming on. You won the Book of the Year, which is
I got it in the mail. Thank
you. We're so low budget, we just tell you won. You don't actually get anything.
On behalf of Mark Arnold and Genius Publishing, I want always Genius Books, because they put it out and they did such meticulous care with it, and it's been a great relationship. On behalf of Stephen Booth and Leah Booth and Mark Arnold, my co-author, I want to thank you for the honor. Your end of the year awards and getting the best book of 2024 just means so much. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And
welcome,
just real quick, what do you have coming up? Any more book writing, or just the paranormal, or what do you got coming up, real quick?
Yeah, so I'm doing a second volume of True Ghost Stories of Connecticut, and I'm assembling the stories as we speak. I have a Beatles book in the works, and I have a Monkeys book finished, which, if I can get legality to approve, will come out.
Well, you're another expert. The other expert you are on is the Monkeys, that's for sure. Yes. You definitely need another book like that.
Yes.
All right, so CharlesFRosenay, not just happy together, the Turtles from AM radio to Zappa. Everybody check this book out. I believe it's on Amazon and all places that you can get books.
Yes.
Anywhere special to get it, or just a normal place at Charles?
Well, if people want a copy that has both our signatures on it, the website, notjusthappytogether.com, has our contact information, and we'd be happy to send out one that has the author's signatures on it.
Okay. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Rob and Mike, thank you guys so much. You're in my heart.
Right. And you have a happy new year. We'll talk soon.
Bye-bye now.
All right. Take care. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the year-end show where we give out our awards. And I'm RockerMike. We got Rob Rossi in the top right, and we have special guest, returning guest, Richard Balls, who wrote a book about the incredible Shane MacGowan called A Furious Devotion, The Life of Shane MacGowan. Welcome, Richard. Welcome back.
Good to see you guys again.
Cool. We actually made a special award just for you, okay? Because usually when we do Book of the Year, which we gave to CharlesFRosenay, who wrote a book about the 60s band, the Turtles. Okay, but usually when we do a Book of the Year, it's a book that just came out this year.
Yeah.
But we felt that your book, A Furious Devotion, The Life of Shane MacGowan, came out in 2021, but you actually amended it and came up with an amended version that came out this year. And we had you on a few months back. Great interview. We appreciate that. And we felt like, you know what? We're going to make a new category here called the must-have book of the year. Because if anybody's even like the smallest Shane MacGowan fan, this is a book that you got to read.
Yeah.
And you were personal friends with him. You went to the funeral, which now it's been almost a year already. And, you had some great additions to that new book, to that older book, to make a new book out of it, really. And I just felt that we had to include you with the year-end show. So,
well, thank you so much. I mean, that means a lot to me. Thank you.
Cool. So, how you been since the last time we saw you? I know the book has been taken off.
Yeah, I mean, the book has there is still a lot of interest in Shane, and I think as we're now coming towards the first anniversary of his passing, I think people are thinking reflecting on that anniversary, on that kind of landmark moment. Right. The Pogues, some members of the Pogues are now going to be performing next month, I think, in Ireland, and then they've got some more dates next year, and they're going to put an album out as well. So
who's singing?
There's a lot happening.
Who's singing in that lineup?
So I think Spider Stacy from the original band. So right. It's Spider and James Fernley,
okay,
who obviously lives over in the US, and Jem Finer. So those three members of the Pogues are going to be, reprising Pogue songs in a series of concerts. So there's a lot going on, and it's interesting. I think I think Springsteen said it. I think we may have touched on this before. I mean, Springsteen said, in 100 years' time, people will still be singing songs by Shane MacGowan and remembering them, whereas my songs will have been forgotten. And there's been other kind of amazing tributes paid to Shane's legacy by people like Paul Simon. Yes. So that the legacy is just absolutely huge, and I think people will be talking about him for a really, really long time.
Now I'm in quite a few Shane MacGowan groups on Facebook and Pogues groups and stuff like that. So I get like all the gossip here and there. And the one going around, I don't know if you could verify this, if you even know, but there was a lot of stories going around a few months ago that there's like some kind of Shane MacGowan lost album out there, that there's something recorded that might come out, some stuff he'd been working on in recent years. Is there any truth to that?
I mean, definitely there was stuff that he was recording stuff. That is true. Okay. So in the last few years, he was recording with Cronin, was an Irish band. That's Johnny and Mick Cronin, who became really, really close to him. They're much younger than him, Irish musicians, living over there. And they were in a studio with him, and they recorded a whole bunch of stuff. I think we know about some of the titles. I've never heard any of the actual material, and I don't know anyone else who has. But whether it's going to come out as an album, it has been talked about, and I know that it has been talked about that it was going to be released. But that's been talked about for quite a number of years. That was something that was being talked about when Shane was still around. So I as to whether it's going to come out as a record, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, Shane definitely recorded some songs. Some of them I think were covers, and I think some of them were songs that he'd written himself in the last few years. So yeah, there is some truth in it. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. I mean, I was surprised to
Yeah.
hear that. I knew that he was recording here and there. I just thought it was more of a casual, primitive kind of way, nothing that was going to be released. But that's great. That's
Yeah.
great to hear.
The idea, I mean, certainly the idea of all of those sessions, the idea behind it was always that it was going to become a record. It was going to become an album. Yeah, I mean, those kind of rumors and that kind of speculation goes back quite a few years. I think even back as far as 2015. That there was talk about this record.
It's been so long since he released anything, so I guess
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that that in a sense is so extraordinary. It shows the power of those songs that came out in the 80s that Shane didn't really after about 1997, when the Popes recorded their second album. Shane didn't record any original material from that point onwards. So that flame burned very, very bright, but it burned bright for a relatively short number of years, really.
Was there a reason for that? What was he disillusioned with his own writing or something, or what was?
I think, and I go into this in the book. I think there was some very dark years in the sort of early 2000s, late 90s, when he was really into some pretty hard drugs.
Yeah.
I know people associate Shane with drinking, primarily, and the Pogues are just kind of, pardon the pun, steeped in that kind of image. But actually, Shane, for a long time did struggle with drugs, and I think I think he lost his way during that time. I mean, it has to be said that when they did the reunion, the Pogues reunited with Shane, and so he was still performing with the Popes for a long time. He was doing loads of live shows with the Pogues, and what's so great about that is, I was fortunate enough to see the Pogues in the 1980s.
Me too.
But obviously, a lot of people who are not old enough to have seen them at the time then got the opportunity to see the Pogues, when they reunited, which was just it's a fantastic thing.
Yeah. I mean, I saw them in the 80s, late 80s, when Fairy Tale was a hit, and then I saw them in the reunion in the early 2000s. Never got to see the Popes, though. That's one thing I regret. Never got to see.
I saw that.
Crazy shows.
I saw them a couple of times. I think that was only because I lived in Dublin through the whole of the 90s.
Yeah, I don't think he really came to America in the Popes too much.
No, he did play in the States, but you're right. I mean, he didn't sort of come a lot, not like the Pogues, and had those big shows and played a lot more venues.
So I was glad I caught the Pogues twice in my life. It's great. I got to mention, if you're ever in New York City, okay, first of all, I'm buying you all the Guinness you want, whatever you want. But I'm going to take you to a bar called Patty Riley's on 2nd Avenue and 29th Street. There is a band they're almost a house band, pretty much, called Dark Streets. And they play there once or twice a month, usually a Thursday night. And they are a Pogues cover band, but, I mean, incredible, okay, Pogues tribute band. But they also throw in some, very interesting songs, too, that have nothing to do with the Pogues, but they Irish it up, okay?
Excellent,
and,
brilliant.
And they they do Aces High by Iron Maiden, Pogue style.
Yeah. Funny.
So I shout out to them, Nate, the lead singer. If he's watching, you guys are great. We had Nate on the podcast too.
I would love to see them.
I discovered them by accident on last St. Patrick's Day. I was on a Shane McGowan / Pogues cruise of the East River. Okay,
is that safe?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was a 3-hour cruise to the Statue of Liberty and back. Okay, and the Guinness was flowing, the freaking Jameson was flowing. Everybody was lumped up by an hour in, and Dark Streets was the band.
Okay,
and it was March 17th, right? It's cold, we're on the East River. Everybody's freezing outside.
Yeah,
The freaking boat's going like
I
this.
can see it now.
Okay,
I only
and
asked about the
yeah.
I only asked about the safety because when the Pogues were on Stiff and Rum Sodomy and the Lash came out, Stiff to launch the record, Stiff hired a boat on the Thames,
Oh,
and they invited a load of journalists, from the music press to get on this boat in the Thames, and apparently one of them went overboard into the Thames. That's what I was. That's what I was asking about. Did anyone end up in the East River?
no one ended up in the East River, but it was some pretty drunk people. It could have happened.
I think Sean could wind up in these.
I was babysitting Sean Harris. I was babysitting my buddy Sean.
He was
If
already.
anybody would have fell over, it would have been him.
Yeah.
Oh man. But
I think one of the great things about you mentioned this band, Dark Streets. There are lots of bands that not necessarily a tribute bands to the Pogues. There's a few of them, but there's a lot of Irish bands that play Pogue stuff. I mean, I'm going to do an event next month in Norwich, which is where I live in the UK. We've got a bar called Pogue Mahone's. And there's a trad trio that are going to be playing. I'm going to be talking about the book, and then they're going to be playing Pogue songs. So I'm sure that in the decades to come, people will be in bars in the UK and the US and other parts of the world, playing Radio Night in Soho and all these amazing songs.
It's timeless stuff. Bruce Springsteen had a good quote there. It's timeless stuff because
it's timeless. Yeah.
You can, when I listen to it, and I have to admit, I've always been a big fan, but over the years, there were periods of time I wasn't listening as much, but since Shane passed, I've had such a resurgence of it, just how great the music is.
Yeah, that's
and,
right.
and when you sit back and you listen to it, sometimes it's like, what year is it? Is it 1985? What is it?
Yeah.
But
I suppose in a way it was it was so out of kilter with what was happening in 1985, 86 when it came out anyway. I mean, nobody in 1986 had any point of reference for this great. I mean, this was when the charts were pretty much like Wham and Spandau Ballet and Duran Duran and all that. I mean, there were very few kind of. I mean, yes, maybe in bars and pubs that there might have been that kind of roots resurgence going on, but it certainly wasn't making its presence known in the charts. And the charts seem to be all about like those Top of the Pops in the 70s was like a kind of light. It was part of the BBC's light entertainment package, and it was actually run by a guy who wore a bow tie and a jacket. Rob Nash, and so in the 80s, Top of the Pops kind of threw all that out, and then it went all party, and it was all balloons, and it was if you look at those clips from the 80s, there was professional dancers all over the place. It was much more slick and everything. And the Pogues, I mean, if you look at like the early, I still love looking at some of the early videos of the Pogues, like Streams of Whiskey, with Shane sitting in nothing but a pair of Y fronts. In a deck chair on it looks like a slag heap or something beside a canal.
Right.
I mean they were just the antithesis of what was going on in the charts.
No, there was nothing slick about them. That's for sure. No. I mean, it's amazing. It'll always amaze me how this music managed to resonate so well with people at the time, because they were the antithesis of what was going on. And then you had a guy, Shane. Shane was Shane. There was no pulling punches with him. He was who he was, and he was the front man. And it's like, you look at like you say, Wham, Pretty Boys, and then you had Shane Cowan on the other side of that.
I know a guy with half his teeth missing, and the general kind of look of him. And maybe that. I mean, I think from a press perspective, they were a gift. I mean, they're absolute gift. So, I mean, normally the press, I don't know, they'd interview a lot of people on the phone, or they'd go to the record company offices and interview them. with Shane, it was like down in a bar, and they'd be, you know, absolutely sort of pissed out of their heads, and you know, a lot of times he wouldn't turn up at all. Just that whole, you know, it was just living the rock and roll lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I think, he was good. He was good quotes, and he was good copy for music, for the music press. But also, I think in a sense, one of the first songs that people would have associated with the Pogues. Just thinking about your question about, you know, if they were so out of kilter, how did they kind of land with people? You know, one of the first songs really that most people would have ever heard by them would have been "Dirty Old Town," which of course
Yeah.
isn't by Shane.
Right.
You know, it's by
That's a
you and
traditional song. Yeah.
yeah, and actually that is a timeless piece of its
That
own. I
is-
mean, that's
love
just
that song.
that's an extraordinary song that people have been singing for years. And just for those who don't know, it was written by Ewan McCall, who's Kirsty McCall's dad,
Dad.
and the same man who wrote "The First Time I Ever Saw Your Face,"
For Roberta
probably
Flack.
one of the greatest songs written.
Yeah.
And he wrote that song about Salford, which is a district of Manchester.
Right.
But it's that's a timeless song.
Well, I'll be honest with you. The first time I ever heard that song, it wasn't by the Pogues. It was by Rod Stewart.
Ah,
Rod Stewart did that "Dirty Old Town," I think, in 1970.
yeah,
One like his first solo album or second solo album.
yeah.
And he recorded, and it's not it's similar, very similar, but
Mm,
it doesn't have the Pogues flavor to it. But
yeah,
it's a good version. You know, it's the same words and everything.
yeah. And I think also like the Irish Rover when the Pogues
Mhm.
recorded that with the Dubliners
Dubliners, right?
in '87. Again, I mean that's a song that everyone can just get behind. You know.
And you know what was so cool is you had like the Dubliners. I mean, they were world famous within Ireland, perfect.
Mm,
Okay, and then they kind of like got tied in with the Pogues by doing that,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it bridged. In other words, it bridged the generations. I think a little bit.
It completely did. I mean, they were also. I mean, they had a lot of in common with the Pogues, really, because
Mhm.
the Dubliners in Ireland were seen as the bad boys.
Yeah,
You know, there were certain pubs that wouldn't be able to play in. You know, people, "Oh, we don't want that rabble," you know, and their songs about drinking excessively. We don't want that, you know, and so they had a little bit of that, I think, themselves. Obviously, when the Pogues came along, it was a very similar thing. When initially Ireland didn't really know what to make of the Pogues, and there's some great footage online if you want to see that, the Late Late Show with Gay Byrne kind of
Mhm.
almost accusing them of dragging Irish music into
to the gutter.
the gutter, you know.
Yeah, I've
And
seen
I
that.
think
Yeah,
it's really interesting because, you know, I think at the time Ireland was trying to put a very modern uh, face out
right.
there. It was trying to kind of say to people, look, we're not that, you know, what you may think, your image of what you think Irish people are in England particularly, you know, this isn't the case. And actually they were worried, I think, that the Pogues, being second generation Irish, coming over from the UK, this was a backward step.
Right.
And maybe for some people in Ireland, when they got together with the Dubliners and did such a well loved song as the Irish Rover, that was the moment that they can, oh yeah, okay, yeah, they are part of us.
Right. Right. Richard Balls, thank you for coming on today. And you got the must have book of the year by RockerMike and Rob Rossi. And we're going to be back soon. We're going to be talking about some other stuff you got coming up.
Yeah,
I think you're one of your older books about Stiff Records is out again,
yeah.
and I would expect to have you back right after the new year. We'll get
Well, I really look forward to, and very early, but obviously this will be going out later. Happy Christmas to everybody.
Christmas.
Um, and you know, I hope you have a great time, and I look forward to chatting again in the new year.
Definitely.
Right,
Definitely.
man. Definitely.
Love the show. Keep it going.
All right. What do we say at the end of every show, Rob?
We don't get drunk.
We get lumped up.
We'll see you next time, man. Happy New Year, guys.
Take care.
Yeah. Happy New Year.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the end of the year award show. I am Rocker Mike. We got Rob Rossi top left. Hello, Rob.
How you doing?
And we have special guest today, Lorne Berman, musician Lorne Berman. How are you doing, Lorne?
Good, good. Thanks for having me. I'm really
Oh, yeah, man. No problem. We're glad you're back. This is your second appearance this year. And you're part of the end of the year award show because you win Male Artist of the Year.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much. I'm really honored and really grateful.
Well, no problem. You deserved it. It was a tough year this year as far as deciding that there was a lot of competition all around. But when I was thinking of Male Artist of the Year, which is something that this is the first year we're doing that, female and male, I said has to be Lorne. Has to be
thank
Lorne.
you.
Yeah, you came up with that right away, you know?
Yeah. And
Thanks,
that's for your latest album, Blue Love, which Rob, you got that right there? Everybody can see it.
Blue Love right here. Hold on, give me a second.
There you go.
Yep.
TV magic.
Well, honestly, just so everybody's aware, I mean, Lorne, you gave me this album when it came out earlier this year, and I was actually really blown away by it. And I don't get blown away by it too much. I'm kind of cynical, but I think this is a great record, and I was very surprised. I mean, your background, I mean, for people in the New York scene, they know you from LES Stitches and the Sweet Things and some other projects, more of like a punk rock, bluesier kind of guitarist, and in kind of like a heavier Stones kind of way, and Johnny Thunders, like that kind of influence. And then you gave me this, and it's just a very deep, personal sounding, ode to Dion, doo-wop, Lou Reed, especially. There's a lot of Lou Reed all over this record.
Oh, definitely.
And I was just like, this is fucking great. I mean, this is something I've been waiting to see. It's retro in an original way, okay? And it's a sound that I've been wanting to hear, come back at some point, and you're doing it. So I'm glad.
Thanks, man. You nailed. I love the doo-wop, Lou Reed. That's definitely where my mind is, my heart is.
Yeah.
And it is personal. Yeah, for sure.
And it was an easy album to listen to. 28 minutes, and the songs were about 2 minutes long. Some of them maybe. Song that's,
I mean, it's personal, but it's for personal with people with ADD.
Sure. Yeah. Most of my songs are really, really short.
Yeah. There's it reminds me of kind of like a quote that Lou Reed had said, not so much about song lengths, but he said, if it, 1 and 2 chords, you're playing rock and roll. If you're playing 3 chords, you're starting to get into jazz. So,
for sure.
In other words, keep it simple, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I always love like the Ramones, just like 2-minute songs, or even like the Manson, all that stuff, just really to the point,
But other stuff you've done, I've heard those kinds of influences like the Ramones, but this is something that was totally offbeat, I think, from what you'd had done before. So it was almost like an evolution in a way of your sound, or maybe a de-evolution. Actually, I'd say it's a simpler kind of sound. Okay, and it's really surprising. Now, what made you go in that direction from some of the heaviest stuff like the Sweet Things and LES Stitches?
Yeah, I think growing up, I always had like all kinds of influences. I would listen to like Stooges, Johnny Thunders, all the punk stuff, the Stones, and but I also listened to like Curtis Mayfield, and I listened to like Bobby Womack and Dion, and lots of other stuff that was just maybe like a little bit more mellow. And when I started to kind of start doing a solo stuff, I thought, it came out naturally this way, I don't have like a really loud, big voice, so it kind of suits the kind of singing I do. It just felt natural, and also I just kind of wanted to get away. I remember telling my wife, because when I was in the Sweet Things, we did a bunch of touring and stuff, and I remember saying to her, like, I feel like all eighth noted out, because like the Ramones just all downstrokes,
Yeah.
I've been doing that for like 30 years, you know, and just like, oh my God, you know, I mean, I love that sound, and that's a huge part of what I do. But you know, when you like show up to a gig or you travel, you know, you want to. For me, I wanted to just do something different and like play different, use different chords, different voicings, different things. You know, not just the same old thing I've been doing. You know, my whole adult life.
Yeah, yeah, I get it. You know, so many people I talk to that have been in the business for that, you know, that period of time, like you, or even longer, they want to do something different. They don't want to do the same thing over and over and over. And but you know, you come out with this album, Blue Love, and you know, you also, what I noticed is you dedicated it to your wife Danielle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Okay, even when I'm blue, I love you. Oh, see, that's, you know, come on,
Yeah.
you know, like that goes a long way, man.
Yeah, man. Wow, it's cool that you saw that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think you're the first person who noticed that besides my
really.
wife. Yeah, maybe, or the first person who's told me that they saw it. Yeah.
Oh no, no, I noticed that right away. It's right on the back cover.
Yeah.
You know, um, let me ask you, a song like the Bellevue song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were you thinking with that kind of song? What was your inspiration?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So there's like so for that song, there's two kind of inspirations. One was I had gone to Bellevue for something.
Okay.
So there's that, and then you know, I had someone very close to me who went to a psychiatric hospital, and I visited this person, and I just started thinking about like love, you know, and how you find it in just kind of the weirdest places and stuff. I mean,
Right.
the time I went to Bellevue was kind of in and out. It wasn't, you know, it was very uneventful. But I started just thinking about that, and like I just thought it would be kind of, and I've always wanted to do like a New York Dollsy style 50s kind of like,
That certainly is. Yeah.
yeah. And I'm like, you know, I need one of these songs in my repertoire, you know, and so I kind of thought it'd be kind of fun to combine like this kind of like strange love song of two people falling in love, kind of at as you know, an insane asylum basically. And so, you know, and then a lot of it's actually about me. Like some of the stuff, like there's some kind of really autobiographical stuff. Like like I get depressed sometimes in the sunshine. I don't know, when it's sunny out, I can get depressed, you know. So there's some kind of poking fun at me. Like there's little parts of it that poke fun of my idiosyncrasies as a person. So
Yeah, and as a, you know, as a songwriter, that's amazing that you can admit that. Okay, you know, everybody has their own ego to a certain point, you know, and you're laying it all on the table. So that's pretty cool.
thanks, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks.
it's hard to do. So I respect
Yeah.
you for that.
Thanks.
You know, so you've done some shows with this. How have they gone?
They've gone good. You know, we did.
I kept meaning to go and things kept
Yeah.
coming up. I apologize.
Yeah, no, I get it. I did a big show in last February, which was great. It was a record release party, a lot of fun at Bowery Electric.
Yeah.
And then I've been doing some acoustic shows recently. You know, I write these songs, you know, just in my room on like an unplugged electric guitar, you know, so they're basically, you know, they're conceived just as like, you know, me singing and playing like almost an acoustic thing. So I've been doing a few of those things because I never did them before when I was younger. I really wanted to get back to full band shows. We just recorded a new record, and you know, I'm so happy with the band that I have now, and I really want to showcase them and stuff. And you know, I love playing like electric guitar and playing live in that context with, you know, drums and bass. So I hope to do that more this year.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing like, you know, two guitars, bass, and drum.
For sure, that's all you
Yeah,
need.
that's the template you could do so much with, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's great. So you say you're working. Well, you've almost completed the new album. When is that going to be coming out?
I don't know yet.
Probably next year, 25.
Yeah, 2025. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's 11 songs. It's basically, yeah, it's all tracked really. I got to add some keyboards. and some backing vocals. But yeah, it's done. I'm really happy with it, and I hope to play to support that and play a lot for that one as well.
Just curious, did you happen to add any saxophone to your sound?
I've been thinking about that actually.
Wow.
Because I know we've talked about that.
Yeah, and I think we're gonna add. Yes, I think we're gonna add. There's probably gonna be one song for sure. It's gonna have like horns, like a Stonesy horn section.
Because I'm telling you, you're like about an inch away from being another Willie DeVille.
Oh, I love that.
And that's another sound like that I said I want to see come back. Like that. It's amazing. I'll hand it to Little Steven's Underground Garage channel. He plays a lot of Willie DeVille.
Oh,
and if you listen to it all day, you'll hear a good couple of songs. And I mean, it's the only place you could really hear it. And I've really gotten back into him a lot in the last couple of years. And that whole thing could definitely take off that kind of sound. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
From you, because you're like right there, basically.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, there's definitely going to be saxophone and horns on this one. Definitely in that direction. There's probably one or two songs. There's one Stonesy song that definitely Stonesy, Willie DeVille stuff. There's a lot of this album. I think you're gonna, if you like this last one, you think you're really gonna dig this one. A lot of growth.
Sure, I will. Last time since we spoke to you last, you're a new daddy again. Yeah. Baby boy, right? What's his name?
Noah.
All right.
Yeah. We had thanks, man. Thank you. We had a baby in July. So I mean, it was like, my wife is my wife is so great. I said to her, can I go and record, because I wanted to get some of it done before he was born. And so, she was like, almost 9 months pregnant. And I went in like a few days before we had him, and we recorded. No, what was it? Before? Yeah, it was before, or maybe it was like right after. It was like right after. I think it was like right after. And I said, you mind if I do some recording? I did 2 days of recording, and she was great. She watched him, and we both were not sleeping, but but yeah, it's been cool. It's been cool to have I have a 16-year-old daughter, and it's cool to have like a baby boy.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Maybe there'll be musicians like you, man.
Yeah. I definitely have been playing him my music, and my wife
young.
Yeah, my wife's a great singer. I mean, she sang all over Blue Love. She's like the background vocalist.
Yes.
And so she's got a beautiful voice. So she's always singing and stuff. So hopefully, yeah.
All right, cool. All right, Lon Berman, I wanted to thank you for being on the show.
Thanks,
and you're the Male Artist of the Year 2024.
Thank you guys so much. I'm so appreciative.
You're very welcome. You deserve it. And it's really for somebody that didn't just have a good album, but just somebody that's come a long way with his music, and actually stands for something a little bit.
Thank you.
And we really appreciate what you do, and good luck with this new record. Does that have a title yet? Can we say?
Well, no, you could say it's coming out. Yeah, you could say whatever. Yeah.
What's the name of the record?
The title. Yeah, the title is "If Heaven Didn't Hurt."
Okay. Wow.
Right.
Heaven Didn't Hurt.
It's kind of poetic, but there's a lot. Yeah. But,
all right,
guys. One more thing. How can we get the album?
Where will we be able to get it?
So you can get Blue Love. You can get on Spaghetti Town Records. Yeah, that one, which is the same label of the Sweet Things, Ravagers.
Spaghetti Town, yeah.
Yeah, it's a great rock and roll label. Teddy Spaghetti is a dear friend, and
that's Eddie Spaghetti's label.
Teddy.
Okay. No, not Eddie. Not Eddie.
Not Eddie. Yeah, not Eddie. Yeah. Okay. Maybe some distant relationship. But
they're brothers.
Yeah. Totally. Well, thanks, guys. Thank you guys so much. Such an honor.
You're very welcome. And make sure you let us know when that album's out, and we'll hype it up a little bit.
Thank you.
So, Lon, thank you very much for being on.
Thanks,
we wish you all the best. Good luck with your new son, and we'll be talking to you soon. Rob, what do we say at the end of every show?
We don't get drunk.
We get lumped up.
We'll see you soon.
Take care, people.
See you guys.
Hello, everybody. I'm RockerMike, and this is the end of the year show for 2024. We got Rob Rossi, as usual, top right. Hey, Rob.
How you doing, guys?
And on the bottom, we've got the very lovely and talented Roxanne Fontana. You might recognize her from past shows. She's been on a few times. And this year we're giving her a very special award.
For this, it's really wonderful. You're smart guys. Thank you very much. I thank you very much for this honor from you guys, and I think you're really smart. I've made a great album, and I hope people listen to it. And I'm really happy about this. I'm happy that you recognize it to be, the really great album that it is.
Yeah,
and
really.
Cool.
So what do you have coming up for 2025?
I'm going to make a new album, but it's not going to be out for a while because it's going to be something very different, and I'm making it for a major label, and I don't know when it'll come out. With companies like that, it could take a year or two to come out, but
Wow.
I feel like it's going to be probably my most successful thing. But I love this new album, and I love all my records. I think that they're all really good, and it's almost sort of interesting that they're not really recognized worldwide because it keeps it all fresh for me, if you know what I'm saying. It keeps everything exciting for me to keep going, because once you're satiated, then it's where do you go, so it's almost good. They say the cliche, it keeps you hungry, but it's more than that. It keeps me excited and inspired to make music, and people discover my stuff all the time, more and more, and it's exciting for me. Someone will write to me and say, I've spent the whole night watching your videos and I've just discovered you. And that's really a great thing. And it's good because no one's telling them to do it. Yeah, they're just finding it and digging it. Which is really,
for what it's worth, Roxanne, we always try to promote you. We've been on your bandwagon for a few years now, and we'll always support you. So, Roxanne, I want to thank you for a very quick interview, and we wish you all the best for 2025. And we'll be in touch.
Yes, and going forward, just even beyond. Yeah, so anyway, going forward, beyond and everything, and I love you guys, and Happy New Year. Hopefully things are going to be great for everybody.
Yes.
And cool.
All right. We will be in touch with you, Roxanne, in 2025, following what you always do. All right.
Wonderful. I hope you love the album. Okay. Ciao. Bye.
Ciao.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. All right. So let's talk about this new album.
Okay. So this, maybe you're going to have, this year she is the Female Artist of the Year for 2024. And it has to do with her latest release, which is her 6th studio album called Some Have Fun. There you go. That's the cover. And the back is a cool picture too. Let me show that.
Okay.
If you could see it, it's kind of her in Tangiers. This picture was taken. Some Have Fun. It's a great album of some originals, some covers. She does a great version of the Rolling Stones, The Singer, Not the Song. She also covers the Patti Smith Group classic Dancing Barefoot, which was written by Ivan Kral, who was a very close friend of hers. This record came out on Sprezzatura Records, which is Roxanne's label. And Some Have Fun is the 6th studio album by her that she has put out. She's a very interesting person. I mean, she has definitely a 60s vibe, which I dig. I like it. And she has had a kind of a rising popularity over the years, a slow burn kind of, and people have been discovering her. She operates out of the UK, and she's also had some great people on this album I want to mention. Of course, you have guitarist Matt Treber, and you have drummer Steve Hands plays on this album. He was known for his work with Peter Perrett from The Only Ones. Also Alan Blizzard, bassist Dale Gordon, Spencer Hannibus, and Richard Vernon of the Ricky Warwick Band. and also X of the Mission, okay, which was a pretty cool band. Critically acclaimed singer-songwriter musician Peter Kasanovich is on this album. Several other people, and of course her daughter, 21-year-old Suki Marie, has a couple of guest spots on the album.
Wow.
I enjoyed this record. I really, like Roxanne's work. I think everybody should check it out. I know back in 2022 we gave her concept album Phantasmagogy the album of the year, and this was a tough year for all the awards because I had to really think about a lot of things, but she's definitely the female artist of the year. So I think everybody should go out and check out this record. You could go to Sprezzatura Records to check it out, buy it through them. I believe Amazon has it as well. If you're looking for it and you can't find it, you could always contact me at RockerMike on Facebook or RockerMike 212 on Instagram. Direct message me. I'll definitely look into how you can get it. There are some videos on YouTube.
Yeah, the videos are great.
Yeah, the videos are great. She looks great, and the songs are good, and it's just enjoyable. You like that stuff, right?
Yeah. This album was pretty good. 10 songs, 37 minutes, which is easy to listen to. So I always like that.
Yeah. And she's a sweetheart because she gave me like a whole, she gave me the album and she gave me the whole press book that came with it. And, she does a really professional job with it. And I even got a button. Some have fun.
Nice.
Love my buttons. I got so many of these things. I got a drawer full of them.
Yeah.
Over the years. All right, Rob. So that is it for this year-end show. And we've done them pretty much all already. I think this is the last one we recorded.
Yeah.
So we're putting it all together, everybody, and we hope you have a great New Year. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all that. And 2025 is going to be good for us. We've going to be emphasizing on a lot of interviews in 2025. I'm looking forward to that.
And the rock show also.
And the once a month rock show is not going anywhere. We still doing that.
Yep.
So what do we say at the end of every show, Rob?
We don't get drunk.
We get lumped up.
We'll see you real soon.
Take care, people. Hello, everybody. I'm RockerMike, and welcome to the end of the year award show. Hello, Rob Rossi. How are you?
I'm pretty good today.
Okay, and we have a very special guest. It's a returning guest, a guy who's always welcome on this show. His name is Greg Stackhouse Prevost. How you doing, Greg?
Hey, Mike. Hey, Rob. What's happening?
Hey, how you doing, man?
Good.
And, Greg is the founder, main songwriter, main singer only singer for the Chesterfield Kings, the old band, the Chesterfield Kings. And he has that band's long gone, and he's working on a solo career that's been fantastic for the last, how long has it been now? 12, 13 years?
Yeah, since 2011.
2011, right, so 13 years already.
Wow.
And the album most recent is called After the Wars, and we are making this album the album of the year. So congratulations, Greg.
Yay! It's like I'm Bullwinkle, Rocky and Bullwinkle. Yay!
Greg, I've followed your career for probably 40 years. Okay. And with the old band, and then of course the stuff that you've done over the last 13 years. And I'm not just saying this because we're friends. I actually think this album is a masterpiece.
Wow.
Okay. And I don't give that category to too many albums. I haven't in a long time. And I just think that everything you've done prior to this, especially in the old band, is basically at a totally different level. Okay, what you're doing now is like comparing the first Stones album to Exile on Main Street.
Oh,
okay?
wow.
All right, so I know you're a big Stones fan, so that means a lot to say that. But I just think that you've come such a distance, and that's not making light of what you did before. Okay, because some of that Chesterfield King stuff is amazing. I'll always say that Let's Go Get Stoned is probably my favorite and an album that everybody should check out before they die we had him on a list, had you on a list for that. But this album, After the Wars, is such a unique album. It's such a mix of blues, country, rock and roll a la kind of Stooges, that kind of rock and roll. Okay. And just you doing your own thing. I mean, it's you got originals, you got covers, but what I love about what you do, Greg, with covers, and you know, you've always done this really, is you make these songs your own.
Oh yeah. Thanks. I'm glad you noticed. I try to keep away from it.
I never liked bands that do too many covers, but when a band, you know, and one band that comes to mind is like maybe like the Ramones, like always, you know, if they covered a song, they kind of made it there, especially the early stuff.
Yeah, it sounds like the Ramones.
Yeah, right, exactly. But now that's the version you want to hear, you know. And you've picked some incredible covers here. I want to talk about your originals too, but I'm looking at the album here. After the Wars is the name of it, and you did a cover of Rocky Erickson's "I Have Always Been Here Before," and I think that's off is that the third album from?
You know, I the first time he put it out was like on this Sponge label out of France. It was like a 4-song thing, and then it came out several times after that. He did many versions of it, but then.
But it was originally a 13th Floor Elevator song, right?
No, that was always a Rocky song.
Just a Rocky song. My bad. Okay.
It was around mid-70s, 76 or so. He did that.
Okay. For some reason, I thought it was on like their last album. But okay. You're a big Rocky Erickson fan. You've done his other songs of his on your other albums too.
Yeah, I've always loved that. Well, I don't want to get it. Everybody knows that I was into that stuff. No, but yeah,
what's so cool about your track list here is it's really like a roadmap of your influences.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you even go back to Buddy Holly. You cover "Learning the Game."
Yeah, I love that song. You
did it with full strings and everything. It's beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I try to make it like totally not like other versions, but I mean, it's similar to Sandy Denny because I don't know if you ever heard her version of it.
I think Fairport. So. Yes, I have. Yes.
It's similar to that, but not really, and then Carol does the harmony with it, makes it more of a pretty song,
Yeah. Yeah. And speaking of pretty songs, the third track is an original called No Hallelujah for Glory. Oh, no, excuse me. I'm going to talk about your second track, 12 Gates to the City.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And
12 Gates to the City.
That's like You'll Give Me Shelter.
Okay? And Danielle was like a powerhouse vocal. I mean, she is.
What is her name again? Just so we got it.
Danielle Colbert Parrish, and she's like powerful. Like she's Carol's friends. And she worked with her. And I was looking for somebody that could understand gospel. I mean, for real, not like somebody that just could. I mean, I know girls that could sing and stuff, but not like that. And then somebody that had the feel for it. Like she actually was like. She's in a gospel choir at her church, and she brought that right into the song, which is what I was hoping would happen, and like all the ad-libbing she's doing at the end where she's talking about Jesus and stuff. She's like she really means it, it's like it's really happening,
Wow.
And she kind of just took off when in the studio. I was like, wow, we all just sat there going, holy shit, this is amazing, but she's fantastic.
Now you're a big gospel music fan, right?
Oh yeah, I love all that kind of stuff too,
Yeah. Is this a song you've known about for a long time? Maybe you wanted to do it, or is it something you kind of discovered of late?
No, I was doing it a while ago, the Reverend Gary Davis version. Not version, but I was modeling it after him, and I was doing it. And then I thought it would be more interesting if I made it more of a real gospel song instead of a blues song,
Right.
So it was originally a country blues song. And then if she didn't sing on it, would have been like a Little Walter kind of thing, or whatever. But she turned it into having her on it it gave it that authenticity that was needed to make it a true gospel song.
Wow. Okay. The album starts off with Traveling in the Dark. Okay. Which is an interesting track. Felix Pappalardi wrote that song, right?
Yeah, that's a really heavy song. I always loved that song. Originally, people think it's a mountain song, but he originally did it for Hamilton Camp back in like '68.
Oh,
and he produced that for him, and he does like a similar, not what I'm doing, it's different.
right.
But anyways, I try to make it more euphoric.
Yeah, I think it is euphoric. I mean, actually, that's kind of a good adjective for the whole album. It really kind of like, it's atmospheric, and every, I think I told you, when you sent me the copy of it, and I'm always grateful when you send me things. Thank you.
Oh, no problem.
But
thanks for listening to him.
no, it's an honor. But I always judge albums if they sound good in my car.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Exactly.
And I have two cars, and one's really my wife's, but one's mine. And mine still has a CD player in it. It's an older car, so it's great. And I must have played it. Oh God, I think about 3 times in a row when I got it. Okay, driving around, and it really has such a great feel. The album, the tracks flow into each other perfectly, and then like you got this kind of like bluesy thing, gospel-y thing going on, and then track 8 kicks in. It's a Johnny Paycheck song, okay, and it worked. Okay, whatever you decided to, however you lined up these songs, it all works.
I remember Dave Anderson, who co-produced it with me. He's the engineer.
Right.
He started cracking up as soon as all of a sudden you hear, and you hear like the pedal steel, and he goes, "Oh man, this is just so far out." You go from like this Dylan Stones thing into this total country thing, which it is, and I want it to be like exactly as country as you could get,
Right. And
I think it went there.
Yeah, no, it absolutely did, and that's one of my favorite Johnny Paycheck songs. Anyway, so I was really happy to hear that. But one other thing I noticed through the album is you got Paul Morabito playing his Rickenbacker, his 12-string. And
yeah,
so
he played on a couple things with that. Yeah.
So you get this kind of birdsy kind of sound through it, and I know that's all you right there. I mean, you love that.
I tell you, Paul is like fantastic guitar player. He can play like. He goes, "Oh, should I do it like this?" It's like he just plays like this beautiful kind of McGuinn style, and then he can do like, he can do like Mick Taylor, like he's just got it together. And then his contributions to this, he was instrumental in making this. I mean, all these people that were on the record with me, it really made it. I mean, Carol saved the record because I quit the first day I started recording.
Really?
Well, the idea was I was going to go in there. And I didn't want to involve other people because it's, I got to get this person. You got to schedule this. I just wanted to go in and go, okay, let's fucking do the album. Just do it in 2 days, right? So I was going to go in and do it myself, just me and singing and a guitar. And then I started it. First day I did like 5 or 6 songs. And then I did the next day. I go, I don't know about this, man. This is like not happening. And then I did the Rocky song, and I thought it was kind of good myself. And then I said, Dave, what do you think? I said, tell me if it sucks. He goes, well, if you want my opinion, I think it won't impress anybody. And I go, I quit.
Oh, man.
And so then Carol was there, and she was there the whole time. And she goes, you can't quit. You got to keep with this. And Dave just said, step back and come up with a different approach. And then I did, and it just fell together the way it did. Thank God, I wouldn't have done it.
Wow. Now, Dave Anderson, you said worked on the production with you, but he also plays bass, right?
Yeah, he's a genius. Like he played bass and drums, and he did some vocals. Like it was great because I didn't plan on putting drums because I don't want like this rock album, like drums. And so when there's drums, it's like really subtle, and he knows how to do that without like being all loud and, like some guys do. And I hate a lot of new recordings because a lot of new bands, they got this fucking drums are so loud. Yeah. You know what I mean? Especially these fake bands, these fake kind of new groups and stuff, and these artificial 60s bands that think they're doing the 60s, but they have these cut and paste digital drums, and it sucks ass. I hate it.
They borrow drum tracks from other people.
Yeah, they do sampling, and then they put sampled it up, and it's like this shitty sound.
What the hell is that? Yeah, it's not playing.
It's fucking horrible, and I can't deal with that stuff. And like, so Dave is there, and it's like, okay, Dave, what do you think? Let's put some drums on this. And then he just knows, we'd screw around with it, and then just get it, and like fast. And it wasn't like having to deal with somebody, being an asshole, like, I want to play my drums real loud and all that kind of shit, which is why I'm glad I'm not in a band,
Yeah. Well, yeah, we we talk a lot, just so everybody knows. Me and Greg, either online or sometimes on the phone. And one thing you always express is that you're really enjoying your solo career right now without having a whole band to deal with. And you did that. You've been there, done that. You know what I mean? You're doing something now for you, and that's really, I think you're probably at your most creative. Well, no doubt at your most creative that I've ever seen you. But I do have to ask you, okay, with track 11, which is the title track, After the Wars, it's broken down into 4 parts.
Okay.
It's kind of a concept kind of thing. Part 1 is called Creation, part 2 is Retribution, part 3 is Redemption, and part 4 is your Zen cats. And people that know Greg knows he loves his cats, and he put his cats on this track. Tell us briefly, just a little bit about this whole track 11 here, After the Wars.
I started out just doing acoustic. Well, it's all acoustic. It was done pretty much live, except for the freak out drums in the beginning, where I just said, Dave, just play like this, and I'll do this maraca thing. And then we threw in one of Paul's guitar leads backwards. And then we kind of blended it in. Then the rest of it's live. And then that one part about the cats, I figured, you know what? I want to have it so it's just like the cats and then like the wind chime. So I recorded Felix like in the middle of the night. It was like 2:00. I was watching Mannix. And Felix is like purring. He's right behind me. So I recorded him. And then Dave says, send it to you. So we put it in there. And he goes, Dave's going, listen, there's a clock in the background. And I was laughing. It was Carol's mother's German clock that's on the wall. So you hear this tick, 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 tick. And that's why I put it in the beginning. I go, I'll do this and make it like work and tie it together. And, and then I recorded the wind chimes in my backyard. And we just blended it in. Then it kind of went into the David Bowie, the Sun Machine. Yeah.
Memory of a Free Festival. Yeah, it goes into that. That's cool. So where can we get this album? Where's the best place to order if people want to pick it up?
I think you can get probably, I wouldn't say Amazon because they keep saying this. You can get House of Guitars in Rochester has it. Get Hip in Pittsburgh, their distributor, they have it, and I know that overseas you can get it direct from whatever. There's a million places over there, but in the States, probably the easiest place to get it would be either Get Hip or House of Guitars. I'm not sure if Mike Stacks is carrying it, Ugly Things. I'm not sure. People could check there, but there's other things too. I think Forced Exposure is carrying it.
Right.
But I can't remember everything, but I know there's for sure they all have it.
I've Googled it. I've actually seen it on Amazon. I just don't know if they still have it.
Because I think somebody ordered it from them. They go, oh, it's coming out in September. It was already out, back in whenever it came out. And, and they make you wait around and all that kind of shit. So,
so if you just go to like gethiprecords.com or something like that.
Yeah. Or houseofguitars.com.
House of Guitars. Yeah. They'll have it. Yeah, that's right.
And House of Guitars, anybody buys it from House of Guitars, I'll sign it personally for them.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know. You're always good like that. You do your in-stores and all that.
Yeah, I love it there. It's my second home from, I worked there. Obviously, you know that. I worked there for many years.
Yeah.
And we're still associated and friends and all that.
Awesome. All right. So what do you have coming up? Are you working on anything?
Actually, yeah, already started another record and just working on the songs and the arrangements. And then I'm not going to start recording until probably in the early winter, like January, February, or maybe earlier. I don't want to do that in December. Fuck that,
After the holidays. Take some time.
I figure let this album kind of ride out some more and then I'll just start recording it and then take it easy. Because this time I'm not going to stress out like I did on this one.
Don't walk out and quit.
Yeah, well, I did it to myself. I put too much. I'm like, I'm going to do this album. I got to do it now because the reason was that Vintage Violence album came out, and that was like a compilation of my 70s stuff. And then it kind of took time to do that. And then this was supposed to be already going. And then, anyways, I wanted to hurry up and get it done. And like, I'm going to get this done in 2 days. Yeah, right.
Doesn't happen. No, but it's good you took the time, and it's not like you took 2 years to make it, but you still you took the time. It's well produced, well written, and it's the album of the year.
Yeah,
thank you. I'm honored. Believe me. Thanks for doing that.
No problem. So, Greg, thank you for being on, and you're welcome to come on anytime you want. we'll be doing some rock shows after the new year. Talking about doing a podcast on Thin Lizzy. We do our usual Black History Month. I'll be working on something with that. I think we're going to be talking about Stax Records during Black History Month. So this is the year-end show, and it'll be up, I'd say mid-December, maybe third week, something like that. And again, Greg Stackhouse Prevost, Album of the Year, After the Wars. Everybody should get it.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Rob.
Anytime.
And what do we say at the end of every episode, Rob?
We don't get drunk.
We get lumped up.
We'll see you next time.
All right.